Hey, we're going to try this again. So, Nick from Harvest Profit here, thinking about grain marketing planning today. One of the big things that has been talked about a lot lately is the use of price targets in a grain marketing plan, which I'm a big fan of. I think are the great building block to kind of remove that trigger from our busy lives and place it, with our broker, with our grain buyer, with our elevator. I really am a big fan of price targets. But what happens when those price targets don't get hit? You go back to 3-4 years ago, we saw $4.50 corn. So fast forward to 2 years ago, and this year, a lot of people had that $4.50 price in their marketing plan. We tend to anchor to those historical prices, but each year is different. Just because we hit $4.50, the prior year doesn't mean we're going to hit it this next year. So where a lot of grain marketing planning and target setting can fall apart is what happens when that price target doesn't get hit. We try to help that in Harvest Profit by using a combination of price targets and date targets. But what I've seen happen is, let's say you have a date target to sell some of your crop on May 25th. You wake up to puddles of rain everywhere and it downpours all morning and you still have 40% of your crop left to plant. Are you going to be really excited about going and selling another 20% increment of your crop? I've seen it happen multiple times where a person says, there's no way I can sell any crop today. Like, let's look at it outside. We might not even have a crop this year. A lot of people experience that this year. Or you wake up, the market's down 10, 15 cents. It's just really hard to pull the trigger. I like to say there's a textbook grain marketing, and then there's real world grain marketing. Being cognizant, being aware of emotions, of biases, I think is a huge factor in successful farm management. And so knowing that these date targets can be a real pain, especially if you fall behind. I'm trying to rethink, strategize, and do some brainstorming on how could we improve on what traditionally is a combination of, let's say we have dates on the bottom axis here, prices on the left axis. And so we're selling at a certain number of price targets, a certain number of date targets. So the sooner that each one of these gets hit, we're going to take some action. But as I said, these date targets can really cause some inaction, complacency, if they tend to line up on days where there's weather issues or we have a big down day for whatever reason. So trying to think about a better way to do this that matches up more with kind of the emotional biases, the reality of grain marketing is what I wanted to talk about today. So I'm going to grab a eraser here. Give me a second. So approaching this from a different standpoint. So we're going to start out this calendar at the new year, 1/1. We could go back to the summer prior to the growing season. We can pick whatever dates we want. We're going to go 1/1 here. We're going to go 10/1 here. And then within this time frame, let's just pick that March 31st, or we'll just say March 1st through July 1st is our period of seasonal strength. And so let's say we start out the year with, all right, we're comfortable selling 20% way ahead of time. And then we want to get to, 60% of our APH sold by the 4th of July. So we have our target up here, 60%. And then we track our sales throughout the year. So we might have nothing, and then we sell some grain here. We might not get an opportunity, and then all of a sudden, boom! We get an opportunity in March. Then maybe this year we get an opportunity where we go all the way sold and we meet our target. and we're done. But if we don't have prices that we're happy with, we can know that, all right, on this day, maybe we have a 27% target. And then a week later, it's 31%. And then maybe 42%. So we can have this up-sloping target sold line that matches up more or better with how the volatility in the markets, the volatility in the weather, and really just trying to realize that selling on a down day or selling on a day where you get 3 inches of rain, or maybe it hasn't rained in 2 weeks, these date targets that I showed before, I've seen those just cause a fair amount of issues. It's hard to pull the trigger when you have one of those adverse events. Just trying to be cognizant of reality, cognizant of biases. And I really think that having this upsloping line as your target percent sold and then tracking your sales progress against that line can equate to a more successful marketing outcome. And if you get an opportunity here or here or here, you can choose that, all right, am I willing to get to my target percent sold today? Or, oh, geez, we're not quite at my target of 420 futures. Maybe we're only at 407. Well, I know I'm only 20% sold today and I want to get to 60. So let's layer on another 15% sales and get us closer to our target percentage sold. And so just curious on what you think about this approach. This is something I think we're going to build into Harvest Profit, is this, instead of having it all in one chart with a combination of the date targets and the price targets, having this target percent sold upsloping line, just in my opinion, it better matches with the reality of the challenges that you face on your farm. And so I'd love to hear any thoughts, how you handle it. Heck, you could build this in Excel, but our job at Harvest Profit is, we know that you are super busy trying to plant timely, trying to be effective with your spraying, managing your people, hauling grain, buying inputs. We don't want this to just consume your life and take over and turn into a full-time job. And so that's where we think software tools can help, better keep on top of this stuff throughout the year, so you can focus on, maybe what you're good at, which is growing a crop in the production, the agronomy side of the farm, and have tools to supplement you on the business side of the farm. So enough rambling for me. I hope the audio works this time. If not, it's strike 2 for me. But just be curious. Feel free to reply to this thread, reply under this video, send me a direct message, send me an email anytime, nick@harvestprofit.com. Just trying to do some brainstorming, thinking how we can better line up grain marketing planning with the challenges that you face in the real world. So would love to hear from you. Thank you and have a wonderful day.